r/ask Reddit. What makes absolutely no sense to you at all? Seems like half of the true crime shows I watch involve life insurance. What I don't understand is how the perpetrators convince themselves that being the beneficiary on a brand new life insurance policy and then having the insured turn up dead within days or weeks is not going to put you under a detective's microscope. Even more suspicious are the ones who immediately make the claim for payout within a day of the death. At least sit on it for a month or two and act like you're grieving. I watched a true crime show once and the cop there said that most criminal cases involve very dumb people. It's not some grand battle of wits. It's averagely smart cops versus almost mentally challenged criminals. Smart ones don't get caught. Damn, this blew up, ha 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 ha. Most criminal cases involve very dumb people. We watched a documentary on a French bank robber who broke into bank vaults after hours and got away with it for years. In an interview with a detective that was after him for like a decade, when he was asked how the bank robber eluded capture for so long, he more or less said, "Most criminals are stupid, which makes them easy to catch. Smart people usually figure out that getting a job is much easier and less risky than a life of crime, so they go and do that. When really smart people actually put their mind to committing crimes, it can be very hard to catch them. Thankfully it's good for my job, most of them are stupid." My first language was Spanish, which I learned at home. I learned English at school and with friends outside of school. In addition, German is spoken. Surprisingly, when I speak in my brain, it's always in English. When I pronounce them out loud, though, they come out in the correct language. I knew someone who was a foreign exchange student to Germany, and when he returned to America his thoughts were in German. My native language is German, but I surround myself with a lot of English. Reddit, watching shows in English, YouTube videos and so on. And sometimes I struggle to find a specific word in German, but the English word instantly comes to my mind. Brains are crazy. If you don't have money, you are charged fees. Being broke is expensive. Maintenance on a $2,000 car versus maintenance on a $30,000 car. How babies just go from swimming breathing in a pouch of goo to being born and able to breathe normal air. It makes no sense to me. How does something go from not breathing air to breathing air in like a second? Babies don't get it either. That's why they cry in confusion. Something interesting I learned from my baby's doctor when my baby was ill. Babies will cry in order to get more oxygen if they are struggling to breathe, so when they first come out, this now totally makes sense to me why they are crying and why it's an issue if they are not, and why it's a sign that a baby isn't breathing. If they don't cry when first born, it seems so obvious, but not at the same time. Dong is a shorter way to say Richard, like when the duck does Richard turn into Dong. If you're going to have a shorter way to say Richard, just say Rich, because that makes sense and like Dong. Sorry for anyone named Dong out there, but her name makes no ducking sense. Rhyming nicknames were a thing in medieval English. Richard becomes Rick becomes Dong. Same with William to Will to Bill and Robert to Rob to Bob. Most of the strange English nicknames are because of this. And Maggie to Peggy. Those Facebook photos that promise you a lot of money if you post them. Is it true that people believe it? How? In what environment? Under what conditions? Could that possibly work? Is this some sort of inside joke that I'm not aware of? Right, amen. Amen. They're chainmail. Essentially, the goal is just to spread them as far as possible. And at least in the case of repost this and get money, it's not that harmful. The more worrying issue is when it's used to spread misinformation. You can break a bone and it will heal on its own. But if you develop a little cavity, you must get it filled. Teeth aren't made out of the same cells as bones, therefore can't heal like bones do. Still dumb in terms of evolution. How the moon is in perfect rotation with the earth to the point where we only see one side of the moon at all times no matter what. Also how the moon appears exactly the same size as the sun in the sky. Google tells me the moon and sun have virtually the same angular size in our sky because the sun is about 400 times wider than the moon. But it's also about 400 times farther away. This allows us to see spectacular coronal displays and prominences during total solar eclipse. I always found it to be such a neat coincidence. If a pizza costs $9 and I order 2 of them, where the hell does my pizza joint get $39.86 from? From experience you have to order a very specific way. I work as a manager at Pizza Hut and two people ordering the exact same thing can have a difference of plus $25 depending on how they order due to specialties that are actually always available. It's insane. Sounds like a needlessly complicated system to take more money from unsuspecting people. What is the root of consciousness and why is there something instead of nothing? Gonna offer answers from two books I've read and probably misinterpreted. 1. We're not as conscious as we think we are. We mostly don't know what's going on in our brains. The root of consciousness is just specific parts of the brain which let us be aware of ourselves and mediate between our various, often conflicting, impulses and beliefs, which themselves come from within the brain. Incognito. David Eagleman 2. Any attempt to solve this question can only take place in a universe where there is something. The anthropic principle. That's why there is something. There may well have been many nothings that lasted eternities, but we'll never hear of those. A Brief History of Time. Stephen Hawking. I'll never understand this either. How are we here? How did we come from nothing? Maybe we don't exist. Maybe we're some illusion, mirage, or fever dream. Edit. OMG, hundreds of likes and a lot of replies. THNX for commenting y'all. It's so interesting to see what you guys think about life and existence. Makes me feel a little better that I'm not alone in all this. How Bluetooth works. Radio waves. Like all wireless communication, I find the fact astonishing that just by waves you can transfer data. Space. Look at the moon. Some days you can see Saturn or Jupiter out there. Look at the stars. You think about us, people on this rock in space all running around. We're floating in space on a rock, spinning around, all together. And space is just so big. It's overwhelming. Really big. I can't even comprehend how big. It doesn't even make sense how big it is. The Earth rotates on an axis. The Earth orbits the sun. The solar system is orbiting the center of the galaxy. The galaxy is moving away from some starting point in the universe. The universe is expanding. Comprehending all that motion simultaneously blows my mind. Put your finger in the air and think about the point in space that the tip of it now occupies. Done. Now by the time you get to the end of this sentence, that point is well over 10,000 kilometers away from where it was when you started it. Edit. Okay. So I'm getting a lot of the same questions, so it's probably going to be easier to answer them here. Most of them are about relative to what, to which you can measure the speed of the universe to clocking it against cosmic microwave background. CMB. Going by that we're moving at about 627 kms per second. Here's an article for further reading. So, as a thought experiment, take something near to you like a lamp and imagine you've tied one end of a piece of string to the lamp and the other to the tip of your finger. Now, you have a device that will cause the lamp to be permanently stuck to the exact same spot on Earth. So you hit the button and, due to the Earth's rotation, 1 second later the lamp is about 150 feet away from you and in 1 minute it's over 16 miles away. So after 1 second the string extends to the end of your block and after 60 it stretches over to the next town. Okay, now you have a device that makes the lamp stuck in the exact same spot in space. You hit it and in about a second the lamp is well past the ISS and in under 16 seconds the string has stretched about 10,000 kms from the tip of your finger. To be fair, I should have originally posted it was something like 5,000 kms away at the end of the sentence, but the point remains. Planes. It still amazes me how something that massive can fly. Same thing for me with ships. Like, how does several hundred tons of steel float on the water? You think it's a heavy ship, but it still weighs a lot less than the water it's pushing down on. Edit. Weighs less per unit of volume. How people came up with baking. I get eating meats and veggies and fruits. That's just food that's pretty much ready to go, but somehow someone figured you can grind this plant into a powder, add a certain amount of water and some chicken eggs and some oil and some other crushed plant stuff and then heat it for X minutes and now you have cake or bread or cookies or whatever. Famine. People start eating anything they can find and discover new foods and also accidents. Get your flour wet but it's near some natural yeast. You are too poor not to still use it. So you cook that bubbling mass and OMG it's better than the hardtack you were making. It's a little sour but delicious. And now you've invented sourdough. Necessity is the mother of invention. How did Isma and Kronk get back first? By all accounts it doesn't make sense. I support this Redditor's theory from 2016. Why does gold have inherent value to humans? Why does Reddit gold have inherent value to humans? No ads edit. Oh you. Edit too. Y'all. I'm aware of ad blocks and various browser options. Thank you. Grown-ass adults not taking responsibility for their actions properly and expecting others to clean up after them. When I wear sunglasses anywhere while it's cold outside, some cashier or receptionist will say something to me like, oh, look at you, longing for warmer weather, or remind me that there's snow on the ground, or ask me why I'm wearing sunglasses when it's so cold outside. Guys, it's a beautiful day. They aren't referred to as hot weather spectacles. Is snow not common in your area or something? Everyone is wearing sunglasses in my area during the winter because even on cloudy days, the light is reflecting up off the snow. Seriously, when there's snow on the ground and a fullish moon, it's way brighter at night because of the snow. Why everyone calls those kids and those I told my kid I ate their Halloween candy videos bratty if they get pissed. The kid has every right to be upset. All you're teaching your child is that they're not supposed to be upset if someone takes something they value and that they've put time and effort into procuring. I've always hated those videos. I hate that we expect kids to tolerate certain behaviors that we as adults would fight someone on sight for. I was thinking about sharing the other day. Like, why do we care about making kids share? Adults hardly share anything. You come over and want to play with my stuff? Duck off. How people can just go up to complete strangers and start a conversation. It comes as naturally to them as breathing. Edit. Well, that was a lot of notifications to wake up to, and thank you for the award. First one I've ever received. Second edit. A big thank you to everyone giving us socially anxious, neurodivergent and introverted folks some very helpful advice. We'll definitely give some of these a go next time. In my experience, you're either the person who's born with it, or you have to learn it like any other skill. I'm absolutely the latter. The trick is practice. Like all things, start with low stakes situations like a barista at a coffee place nowhere near your home. Absolute worst case is you say something a bit stupid and the barista forgets about it as you walk out the door having learned a lesson. It quickly becomes not scary, and from there it becomes natural. Totally agree here. I mainly started by filling awkward silences during checkout at stores with terrible jokes or inane observations. I'm still awkward as duck, but I make friends wherever I go according to my partner. Really just gotta practice and be okay with failing a whole bunch. That I can't get a job without experience. Like, how am I going to get the experience if not at a job? Corporate jobs are a game you play. The rules don't make sense. You were a cashier at a store? No. Instead you say you worked in customer support in a customer-facing role where you consistently met your weekly goals and targets by creating user-centric experiences by cultivating all resources available to you at the time. LOL or something like that. I finally got a new job after a career consultant bullied and gaslit encouraged me to pay him $400 to rewrite my resume and cover letter in that pretentious ass business jargon. I felt like a total hack showing that resume to anyone, but I have a job I really like now, so whatever. Why do I have to file my taxes? You already know what I either owe or am getting back. Just either bill me or pay me. This right here. I've even gotten IRS letters telling me I calculated wrong. Okay, well then why ask me to even do it? How your body knows when to stop growing your eyebrows, arm hair, leg hair, pubes, etc. But your facial hair and the hair on your head grows endlessly. I don't know how old you are, but this will eventually change. Basically, each hair follicle is genetically programmed to produce hair for a certain length of time before going dormant and causing the hair to fall out. After being dormant for a certain length of time, a new hair is produced by the follicle and the cycle starts over again. The growth phase of hair follicles on your arms, legs, etc. is much shorter than the growth phase of follicles on your scalp. However, even scalp hair has a predetermined maximum length. Why people are so offended by swear words that they gasp and change channels when they hear someone say damn. My mom does this. She's explained it to me multiple times and I still don't get it. Alternatively, how some words were decided to be swear words, despite having otherwise normal meanings. I mean, I can say poop and that's okay, but shit is just too far. Vsauce has a video on that right here. TL. DW back a long time ago, royalty used words like poop, and peasants used words like shit. Eventually everyone used the royalty versions of words and the peasant words became taboo to say. How the internet works. The internet is really just your computer asking for documents from other computers. When you go to Reddit.com, your computer goes to the internet equivalent of a phone book called DNS and looks up Reddit.com and gets back an IP address like 12, 34, 56, 78. Your computer then uses that IP address to talk to the Reddit server and ask for the content for the web page. It gets back a text file from the Reddit servers that tell your internet browser how to draw the site correctly on your computer. Gee whiz, that must take ages. House price rises. How seriously can people have so much money for crappy houses? Where are all these great paying jobs that service the mortgage? My partner and I have decent middle class jobs. Teacher, nurse, yet cannot afford to buy in the city where we live. And not even close to the city where we live. How can a pandemic wreck an economy? Throw thousands out of work needing to rely on government handouts, yet house prices increase? It's insane. I bought my house for $119,000 in 2009. It's a cute little 1,700 square foot house in a decent neighborhood in a decent part of San Antonio. If I were to spend 20 or 30k to renovate it, I could easily get 290k for it right now. There is no way I could afford my own house if I bought it today. There are 1-bedroom apartments in my city that are higher than my mortgage payment. All of this inflation, but wages are stagnant. I don't claim to know a lot about economics, but I can't see this leading to good things if the trend continues. Balancing equations in chemistry. I tried 4 weeks to understand the concept, but I still can't understand moles and Avogadro's number to save my life. Edit. I'm 32 with a career that doesn't require balancing chemical equations. I appreciate the offers to help learn though. Avogadro's number is the number of avocados a mole can eat in an hour. Go Ties. As a high school teacher, I just forced my students to write a point, evidence, justification paragraph proving that goats are aliens. Lots of prey animals have horizontally shaped pupils. This is so that they can absorb light coming from more directions, which makes them more able to see any incoming threats. Prey animals will also usually have their eyes on the sides of their heads so they can see around themselves more. Lots of predators will have vertically shaped pupils. This makes them able to absorb the light from one angle very well. They will also have more closely set eyes so they can focus on one spot very well. Interesting stuff. Bitcoin. I don't think 90% of people who invest in Bitcoin understands it. People thinking the earth is flat, even after proving themselves wrong. Photographs. I push a button and a moment in time is saved forever? WTF. I should point out that photography has been developing for 150 years. It literally started as some French dudes being like, hey, if I take this thingy and reflect this light off of it this way, then it will hold on to that light and you can look at it. It's developed a lot since then. Ducking magnets. I also cannot understand why people duck magnets. Because they're attractive. Thanks folks, I'm here all night because I'm in a bar and want to look like I have friends. People that don't flush public restroom toilets. What's the deal with that? Do they not flush in their own homes? Is it laziness? Contempt with society? Seeing retail and other workers suffer? Just not knowing better? That black holes can bend light. Like, what is that blasphemy? Black holes bend not just light but time. Giant celestial bodies where all of our known laws of the universe go to die. Redstone comparators. Men who hit on women, get rejected and immediately start insulting them. Personally, I've been called a fat slag, a slap and an ugly bitch by men who were trying to get me to go out with them and were politely declined. Right, like if I'm such an ugly bitch, then why were you trying to hit on me in the first place? You secretly into ugly bitches or something? NFTs. Dancing. The idea of moving my body around in time with music is completely alien and unfathomable to me. People being proud of traits or actions that are negative or at least not positive. For example, people proudly saying that they don't read or don't exercise. Credit scores. How people don't give a duck about their privacy online. Also toilet paper math. Edited for clarity. I think little people care about privacy just as much as regular people do. As for your other point, I got squat. How people don't see how they say I couldn't care less wrong. They say I could care less, and I correct them and they just don't understand what I'm saying. It makes no sense how you can't comprehend that to me. People intentionally harming others, just for the sake of causing pain. Just why? Do you even know yourself what you're doing? How awful that feels. Maybe someone should do the same things to you. Maybe you'll understand then. Not like that's the best way to do it, but the one most likely to succeed, I guess. Shaving eyebrows off and painting back on. Dishwashers. Shouldn't be that easy to get dishes clean. Modern dishwashers save more water than you do by cleaning plates in a sink too. That really seems weird to me. I always assumed they'd waste more. The more I think about love doesn't make much sense. It is weird how this random person you basically randomly met at one time in your life suddenly becomes the most important person in your life. So much that you would kill for that person. The same person can suddenly become the person you want to kill if that person breaks your heart. If you would have never met that person, you wouldn't have any negative or positive feelings about that person, but would have those feelings for another person. In the end, love is one of those things that don't need to make sense. It is something to just enjoy when it happens. How normal income people afford to go on vacations. Is everyone just living in massive amounts of debt or what? I can barely afford to go camping for Christ's sake and I don't owe the bank anything. Who in their right mind would take out a line of credit to go somewhere? How the masses keep voting for people who have zero interest in advancing their cause. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.